Hello, I'm W4MP3 and welcome to TheProject. Yes, it's back, but for real, not the SMW hacking Turnier 2 crap again. In this episode we'll reassess what we have, shrink down the scope so I actually get done with the hack, and update most of the stuff so it is back to being up to date. Goal is after this episode World 1 and 2 finished, completely. Bold statements today, I know, but sometimes you need to push yourself a bit. Also, time limit, 15th of May. That's 2 months from now on, or the now that is the 14th of March. If this video is not uploaded on that day, I either did something wrong or died. Also, I didn't record everything this time, I want to mostly focus on making progress. Okay, let's see where we left off last time. Actually, first let's make a backup. I might break stuff, or stuff is already broken and I don't know about it. Now we look at the hack. Good thing is I have an overworld where I put the current status of the levels. Bad thing is I actually didn't update it for a relatively long time. Guess we prepared a bit beforehand so you see the results faster. I very quickly checked all levels. This is how far the project is currently in terms of making levels. In numbers there were 73 levels planned and I finished 14.5, or 12 levels are finished and 5 are in progress. Ouch. We're basically reaching Duke Nukem Forever's development hell. Anyways, back on topic. I'll need to finish the following things in 2 months. In World 1's castle I still have a debug door at the beginning going to the boss fight. Actually the wrong boss fight, it's Wendy. Normally you would expect Iggy as the first boss and I actually want to use him. But I managed to break it. Next thing I needed to fix is actually a level I have already shown you, the ghost house of World 2. Well, now it is actually a completely new level with a different gimmick. The only thing that's not finished in this level is the boss fight at the end. Some graphics are very rough and the boss itself is a bit boring. One more thing, Castle of World 2. That one is not finished and very rough. This is the first thing I started doing. Reason for that is quite simple. It's the least level building to do. I started by redrawing the window graphics and the big boo painting. Next thing I did was to try to make the boos fight a bit less tedious. While the thing I coded worked pretty well, it suffered from spawning throw blocks very slowly, due to checking if the big boo boss is too close. I tested it a bit more thoroughly and, well, in the first test something already failed. The throw blocks didn't always spawn. Also I need to adjust the timer if no block could spawn, it was at every 15 seconds. We also have another issue. Throw blocks getting stuck below the ground. Fixing that was easy. I just ignore all areas, whatever, below a certain point of the screen. I also could force the iris to spawn always above the ground, but that would be more effort. Furthermore, I also reduced the timer to 10 seconds between each try to exchange the iris to the throw block. By the way, I didn't forget about the not spawning throw blocks, but for now I have no idea what causes that and how to fix it. For now I'm okay with that. Let's check this off from my to-do list. Alright, next bullet point. Finishing World 2 Castle. Well, that one is quite rough and I actually want to rework some parts to make them more interesting. I guess in the first draft I wanted to make a regular castle level with some parts using Sideways Layer 2. That's something I want to keep. Just a quick tangent. In an older hack, the SMW hacking DE collab half, I made one of these Layer 2 levels. It's kinda difficult and I don't want to go as far as I did there for the project, but I will use it as an inspiration. In my first draft I made the player go down, which is very bad actually due to the fact that the camera is always pointing above the player, making descending even more difficult. So for this level I make it go up instead, like in the second castle of the original Super Mario World. It is one of the more original levels too, so Why not take inspiration from that? First goal was to make the castle feel more connected to the woods around it and put on the overworld a more interesting design, something similar to what is on screen right now. Also, we replaced the castle ground with regular grass and the forest ground stuff. After a bit of figuring out what I can do, I actually started to build the level up until the entry of the tower. Then we find the part with the sideways layer 2. Before I place things, I tested if the sideways scroll thing allows you to change mid-level the range it goes. Sadly, it doesn't work. I also took a quick look at the code, didn't really understand it and decided it's too much effort. I might use that idea in a different level, but for now I should make progress. After completing that part, I tackled the part after the midway point, basically just replacing the cement blocks I placed about 400 years ago. For this level I wanted to use Morton as the boss. Well, as you can see, it's broken. This time it is not my fault, nothing is patched except the SA1 patch this time. I'm guessing that's what's breaking it? Nope, user error. Actually, 2 errors. First thing I did in oopsie was to set the sprite memory index to 08, which allows you to use the more sprites feature of the SA1 pack. Well, that one obviously doesn't work with the boss room, it even says in the readme. That one I already fixed in the clip. The other issue is not that straightforward. Apparently you are not allowed to put a Koopa Kid sprite in any other subscreen than the very first one, which I obviously did not do. I figured it out by checking what the original level did different to mine. The only thing that was not the same was the Koopa Kid sprite. Luna Magic displaying the sprite as correct was a bit misleading. Maybe I should report that. Anyways, next I placed some sprites around the level and encountered a small problem. Sans Undertale has invaded the game. Oh well, I just work around this by using X animation. Drawing these was pretty simple, I just copied the original graphic, added the background and was done. I drew 4 frames, that should be enough. Maybe later I will code something so they flicker like the sprite does instead of the 16 steps I used. After that I applied a few patches again. I changed which graphics the Wiggler uses so I could use more sprites in the forest tileset. These changes should be harmless and not break the hack. Continuing with placing sprites, and with that we have a complete level. Nice. I will try some things with the boss room, but for now I'm done with this. Let's go back one world to the other castle. I still need to fix it. We need to address the problem with Iggy. It's a problem I caused by trying something I am definitely not able to do. Uploading graphics to the video RAM. Well, let's try to fix it, or at least make it work a little bit. Maybe I need to explain why I need to do that. I actually don't need to do that, but here's the thing I want to do and fix. Normally Iggy's platform graphics are stored in a very weird format, making editing them a pain. There is a tool for that, but using external tools is always annoying. Also, it is limited on how many colors you can use, which is why the platform looks very basic in the original SMW. Furthermore, I want to make the tile map easier to edit. Again, for that there is a tool, but I want to allow for custom tiles. Maybe even with custom block support. Well, I stripped down the patch until it works. The only thing that is not working is the uploading of the graphics. The rest, like a custom tile map, custom map 16 and loading palette from a level works. For now I'm actually happy that it works this well already. Next thing I did was drawing the graphics. I kept them simple, because as I mentioned earlier, we only can work with 7 out of the 128 colors. I'm fine with that. After some bug fixing and having somehow layer 2 show up at the top of the screen, I'm actually considering it done. I only need to visually improve it a bit, but for now, done. Okay, in the beginning I talked about reducing the scope of the hack. Now what have I decided on so the project gets finished more quickly? The first thing I want to reduce is the amount of levels. This just does not mean I do less levels because I'm lazy. I focus more on making sure that the levels I make are unique. Here, have an example from 2 levels I made in episode 8 of the series. They look like they would belong to the same level. That's the thing I want to avoid, so what am I going to do about that? The lazy way would be to choose one of these and remove the other one from the hack. I'm not a fan of that, so the next best thing I can do is merge them, taking parts I like and remove parts I don't like. This is something I do between this episode and the next one, and I won't mention that in the next episode because it is not interesting. Does this mean I remove stuff from World 1 and 2? No, I managed to make each level pretty unique already. I do have some similar levels there, but I don't have to change those too much around like the cave level I showed earlier. I do want to change more things on how I do stuff, but one step at a time. Wow, a bonus thing I did and not put in the assessment part of the video. Here I just want to show my progress in learning to draw graphics, or more accurate, how I approached making this container ship tileset, which I will use in the project. My first step was to make a rough palette. Before this point I just used the palette editor inside of Lunar Magic, which is pretty good, but not good enough for me. There is a tool where you can use the screenshot of the palette editor window, so you can use your favorite image editing software to make modifying whole palettes easier and quicker. Link to that in the description. For Super Mario World we need to limit us to 15 colors per 8x8 pixel tile, and we only can use the top half of the palette. Also, some colors are reserved for stuff used by default, so we are either not allowed to touch them or modify them slightly. Yes, there are many things we cannot really touch without breaking regular SMW stuff. For this tileset I decided we don't need the berry bushes. They don't make sense here, giving us 24 more colors in 3 palettes. Do we need them? Yes and no. I will use them to make more variations within the tiles. Next thing I did was making a simple model in Blender so I don't have to figure out how to shade a container. The lighting in SMW is pretty simple, coming most of the time from the top, but in my case I use top left because that gives more depth. Now I can use the side view and basically transfer it to Super Mario World. Next we need to make the ship graphics. For that I initially planned to do that in Blender first too, but I think these are very simple to make, so I just winged it. I also made a few tiles so I can build letters to give the ship a name. With the surprisingly low count of tiles I used, I added some extra graphics for the container to make them more varied. I also added one with a tarp to make it more clear on what container you can stand on and on what not. And that's the extent of how far I got with this. Big to do here is the bridge and other stuff that is on large container ships, and maybe some port tiles. And with that I managed to fix everything. Okay, that is not the truth, but for now World 1 and 2 are complete, or at least what I consider to be finished. What I didn't show or talk about was how I tested everything again, but I did that. Anyways, thank you for watching. Now I just blab about my socials like Twitter and Twitch, both which I use as little as possible apparently. Keep in mind that liking and commenting is helping and motivating me to still make the project a thing, so please do that. Maybe next month already another TheProject episode? Okay, I now have run out of time to say things. Maybe check out the full project playlist if you want to know why it took 12 episodes to finish only 2 worlds. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day. Bye.